DreAllDay.com.
Today I'm going to talk to the athletes. As I said, I'm going to talk to you athletes about how you're going to get better this offseason. It's a very simple process. So what I'm going to explain to you here is really what I would tell my younger self when I was 14 or 15 or 17, how to get better in the off season. Because when I was a teenager and it was off season, meaning school was out, is what I mean by off season, I didn't know what to do to get better. I didn't even know the simple thing that I'm going to lay out for you today. I never even thought about it. I would always say, when I was 15 or 16, I went into the off season, I would say to myself, all right, well, I want to get better at everything. I want to jump higher. I want to be more in shape. I want to get stronger. I need to get better at my ball handling. I want to be a better shooter. I want to play better defense. I want to get more game experience. Basically anything you can name about the game of basketball, I was like, yeah, I need to get better at that too. So I wanted to get better at everything. And one of my younger cousins, he was playing ball. I think he was in high school at the time. I had this conversation with him, and I said, what are you doing this offseason? He said, man, I'm just going to be working on my game, getting better. And I said, okay, well, what is it that you want to get better at this offseason? And he said, everything. And you can get better at everything, but you're not going to get better at everything with a goal of everything. You got to get clear on what it is that you want to get better at. So I'm going to lay out to you today. How you doing? Good morning to you. I'm going to lay out to you today 3 simple steps for how you're going to get better in the off season. To get better in the off season, 3 things you need to do. First thing you got to do, and you don't have to be an athlete to use this. This could be anything you're doing. You want to get better. Number 1 is you got to get clear on what your areas for improvement are. You have to be clear on what your areas for improvement are. You have to know exactly what they are, and they need to be finite. You know what finite means? That means there needs to be an end to it, a beginning and an end. You can't be everything. I need to get better at everything. You can't have a list of 30 things you're trying to get better at the same time. It's not going to work. You got to get clear, and when I say clear, let's say 3 to 5 areas for improvement. You got to pick 3 to 5 areas you want to get better at and get clear on exactly what they are. Be specific, exactly the 3 to 5 areas you want to improve on. That's number 1. You got to get clear on what you're getting better at. Number 2, once you know what you're getting better at, this is the next thing you got to do. Make a plan for how you're going to get better at these things. What is your plan for how you're actually going to accomplish getting better at these 3 things, these 5 things, these 4 things, this 1 thing? Get clear on what your plan is. And you could have 1 thing too. It doesn't have to be 3 things. If you only got 1 or 2, it could be 1 or 2. What's going on, Edward 025? Number 2 step is write out a plan of how you're going to do this. And your plan does not need to be perfect. Your plan doesn't even need to be good. It doesn't even have to be a great plan, but you need a plan, period. The reason why you're writing out a plan, because you're giving your mind a signal to let your mind know that you're serious about this once you start making a plan for something. See, if you just say you want to get better and you don't take the next step, i.e. saying this is how I'm going to do it, I'm going to do this, then this, then this, then your brain never believes you. Your brain never takes it seriously because you're not taking another step. Anybody can just say they want to do something. Is this true or not? Everybody says they want to do things, but how many people go past step 1 of saying they want to do something and actually start planning it out or taking action for it? You understand? So number 2 point is you make a plan. Your plan doesn't have to be perfect. Your plan doesn't have to make sense to anybody. You just need to make a plan. And this is what number 3 is. This is number 3 step. Number 3 is this. Go work the plan. Once you have the plan, go start doing stuff. Go start doing stuff to make this plan work. And as you're doing things, what you're going to find out is whether your plan makes sense or not. Whether your plan is actually workable, whether your plan will actually get you to the goal. And once you start to see that, you say, okay, let me change this part of the plan. Let me change this part. Let me change this other part of the plan. So you change as you go along. But first you got to have a plan in order to change the plan. You understand? If you don't have a plan, then repeat step number 2, which is make a plan. So let me recap 3 points here to get better in the off season. To get better in the off season, this is what you do. And after I recap, then I'll take questions if they're good questions. Number 1 is this. Get clear on your areas for improvement. What do you want to actually get better at? No more than 5 areas that you want to get better at. And this is for everybody. If you're not an athlete, you're a business person, don't matter. Get clear on at least up to 5 things that you want to get better at. Not at least, up to 5 things. You got to have a finite list. Number 2, make a plan for how you're going to get better at each one. It has to be a plan for each one. And number 3, start working your plan. And as you work the plan, you will find out how sound your plan is or how serious you are about that actual area for improvement. Now, questions. My name is Dre Baldwin, for those who don't know me. My background, professional athlete, played ball overseas 9 years. Now professional speaker, TED talker, YouTuber, blogger. What else do I do? I got a podcast every day called Work on Your Game. How long I've been playing ball? If you go to my website, dreallday.com, you can read my book. My first book, By Game, tells my background is free. You can get that book for free. If you really want to know, you can read the whole story and get it. That's at dreallday.com. Put your email address in. Within 24 hours, we'll send you the book. Do I know of Ty? Yes, I know of, but I don't know him. Every time I dunk, I like crying Jordan because I can't. Then you need a plan. You need a plan. Is it okay to change your plan? Yes. It's definitely okay to change your plan. Because if your plan is not working, then you need to change it to make sure it's working. But you got to work the plan to see. Where did I play? You go to my website, dreallday.com, click on basketball, you can read about it. Have you ever played the NCAA? Yes. If you go to my website, dreallday.com, you can read about it. I talked about role players in basketball, how they can contribute to the game. Well, if you know how to play basketball, then you should be able to answer that question yourself. How old am I? If you go to my website, dreallday.com, you can read about it. Can I dunk? If you go to my website, dreallday.com, you can read about it. I'm like 90s Jordan, not crying Jordan. Well, first of all, you got to get some game. See, instead of trying to look like Jordan, first of all, get some game first, then look like Jordan. So you skipped in step one, which is get some game. It's actually step 0. You got to have some game. Michael Jordan had like the most game. So you got to go to step -1, which is get some game. Work on your game. Work on your you definitely skipped a few steps. So now you know. Now you know you skipped a step, so it's okay. As long as you're aware that you made a mistake, now you can go and fix it. Now, if you're not aware, then that's when it becomes a problem. I've never been to New Zealand. All right, you too, ATAC22. If any of you haven't read my first book, it is called By a Game. It is free. If you go to dreallday.com, you can get it for free. Your phone died, you missed the third step. Third step is work your plan and make adjustments. You just got in. Did you miss the value? Well, you always missing the value. Every second you're not listening to me, you missing value. Unfortunately, I'm on Periscope 24 hours a day, so you got to get what you can get. You got to get it how you can. You got to get it how you can, as often as you can. So that means follow me everywhere. Snapchat is at Dre Baldwin. Here on Periscope, my Twitter, my Instagram, same Dre Baldwin. My website, dreallday.com. Do I know the guy who did 10,000 hours? Or the guy who calls himself 10,000 hours? Is that what you mean? Or the guy who wrote about it? Or the guy who originated it? That's actually 3 different people. So be more specific. What am I listening to at the moment? What do you mean by that? Who am I listening to? You mean like music or something like that? Or a speaker, a podcast? I'm asking because a lot of street ball is individual highlights. So that doesn't bring clarity to why you're asking that question. People don't play team ball. Again, so that doesn't bring clarity to your question. It still doesn't give me clarity on your question why you're asking it. If you already know these things, why are you asking me? Spotify, no, I actually don't use Spotify. I use Apple Music. And I have no lists out. The basketball, the guy who calls himself 10,000 hours, his name's Devin Williams. Yeah, I did a vid with Devin in 2013. If you go on YouTube, look it up, you'll see it. But the guy who actually wrote about it, his name's Malcolm Gladwell. And the guy who actually first said it, his name's Anders Ericsson. Most people don't know that. But I actually did a podcast episode about the 10,000 hours theory. So if you look that up on my podcast called Work on Your Game, you can get some actual facts about that topic. A lot of people have heard of 10,000 hours, but they don't know nothing else about it. So if you can get some actual facts and information, then maybe you can put it to good use. Hopefully, for the people who are interested in actually putting it to good use. Some people just want to talk about it. Some people want to do something with it. No, I never played ball with Devin Williams. 6 months ago, I thought you were joking. You said you're most consistently on YouTube. I've been the most consistent on YouTube since 6 years ago, 8 years ago. You might have heard me say it 6 months ago, but I've been it for damn near 10 years. No, I do not know of that person. I don't need to know. Listen, I make the program, so I don't need to know about nobody else. I do know about some people, but I don't need to know about them. I know about them through convenience, not because I need to. You might need to, though. I can't speak for you. I can only speak for me. Yes, I did. If you go to my website, dreallday.com, you can get the book. I did play college basketball. What's my favorite quote? Work on your game. The book is free if you get it, right? If you go to dreallday.com, Your questions shall be answered. I read an article that said genetics has a lot to do with basketball skill. Thoughts? You got to ask me a better question. You're asking me bad questions right now. So I want you to think about a question that's a good one and then ask me. Throwing some information out, then asking me my thoughts is not a good question. It better be good. Well, it's already good. It's already proven good. The only thing in question is you. The book's not in question. The book got 100,000 circulation. The book's not in question. The only thing in question is a person reading it. Hyper-arch mechanism? No, I have not. I've heard of it, but I haven't read it. I can't tell you nothing about it. You said you're going to write 10 or 11 books this year. Am I on track to reach that? Yes, I'm always on track. I'm never not on track. This is my first book. If you go to DreAllDay.com, all your questions shall be answered. Any other questions? Somebody asked me a good question. I think the good question percentage today has not been high. Is the reason LeBron is who he is. How was my day? The percentage of good questions just keeps getting lower and lower by the question. All right, anyway, my Snapchat is at Dre Baldwin, Instagram at Dre Baldwin. If you haven't read my first book yet, go to DreAllDay.com. You can get it. You want to know anything else about me, basketball-wise? Guess what? It's on DreAllDay.com. You want to know anything about me business-wise? Guess what? It's at DreAllDay.com. Everybody, work on your fucking game. DreAllDay.com. If you're on Snapchat, hit me on the Snap. My Snap name is at Dre Baldwin. You already know how that works. And I got a podcast, if you didn't know. It is called Work on Your Game. It is an everyday podcast where I talk about getting yourself into the right mindset, that bulletproof mindset. Getting yourself seen, heard, known. Getting the exposure you want and making things happen in your life instead of waiting for things to happen to or for you. Subscribe to that podcast. We're on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Stitcher. Make sure you check it every single day. Make sure you're subscribed so you catch the heat. Work on your game. Dre Ball, Dre Ball, Dre Ball. I feel like Dre Ball, Dre Ball, Dre Ball. I feel like Dre Ball, Dre Ball.